Hello guys, I'm starting new YouTube series on my channel that is going to be about camping and camping tips. This video is going to teach you about mine positionings, what is the most optimal way to position your mine. It has nothing to do with your bazooka or things like that. This is just basically the idea behind a perfect mine placement from 1 to 10. And here we have a 0 out of 10, which is a dead mine. You can see if a mine is active, if it has this yellow spot on it. You can aim downside on it or make the gun or anything black against it so you get the contraction. And here you can see absolutely that there is no yellow sign, so this mine, if enemy walks on top of it, it will not explode and it's so on useless. Here we have a 1 out of 10 plucked mine, which is quite often I see newer players doing this one, so imagining the enemy coming from this direction on opening the door and the mine doesn't go off, and the reason is that the door will block the hitbox of the proxy mine, so it never goes off. Here we have a same example, little better but still really bad, 2 out of 10. So it's a double door, imagining that the enemy comes in from the left side door. Of course then the mine will work because nothing is blocking it, but most usually the enemy will come through both of the doors, and of course the explosion and the activation requirement is now blocked. This is a 3 out of 10 alerting mine. This is something that some sweatier players use, but in an attempt that if enemy shoots this mine, as they of course will see it, it's in an obvious place, you get the signal that the enemy is coming from that direction, and then you can prepare yourself for the gunfight. Here we have 4 out of 10. This is almost a good attempt. So that mine is kind of blocking that hallway, you can't get past it without doing something about it, but it's visually so easy to see that you are just going to throw a grenade or shoot it yourself. Here we have a 5 out of 10 visible mine. This happens quite often with newer players also. They don't understand that if you throw the mine just like we did before, your enemy can just see it through the door and shoot it. So it's not going to harm the enemy in any ways. But at least it was on a good position, technically. There we have a 6 out of 10 lazy mine. This is already, you know some about the basics, but you are in a hurry and you don't have enough will to place it properly. Of course it works against sweaty players who just rush in without looking, but if they are a little bit more sneaky and they open the door, there they can absolutely just see the mine and shoot it away, making it completely useless damage wise, that they don't take any damage from it. And here we have the same example but without the door, so it's kind of blocking this viewpoint, and a rushy player cannot avoid explosion. But if they are not in a hurry or they just do this, really normal sweaty players do this too, peeking around the corner, what's behind the corner, they are going to avoid it. Here we have a 7 out of 10 inner door mine. So I threw the mine a little bit on the left side of the door. Of course if they are in a hurry that will activate, and if they are not even in a hurry and they open the door, it will activate. But here if they are really cautious and they wanna see if the enemy is on this balcony, the mine is going to be positioned in a way that it doesn't explode and giving the enemy upper hand. Here we have a 8 out of 10 lazy corner mine. It means that it's thrown on the corner side of this wall instead of front of the door. In idea this is a good one because it allows the enemy come closer to you and still take the damage later, but because it's not as close to the wall as it possibly could be, it's going to be easy to see and avoid by a smarter, more intelligent player. So it's better direction. Once again, it's 8 out of 10, but it's not perfect, and it can be avoided or made in a way that it's useless. Here we have 9 out of 10, a good door mine. We are going to put the double mine, which is more realistic. Anyways, you always want to have 2 mines because the double explosion is over 300 damage, making the enemy go down. And over here we are testing every possible way to open that door, and no matter how cautious we are, those mines are going to go on, off, and deal damage or even downing the enemy player. Here we demonstrate the difference between door mines and corner mines. So if I were the enemy and I went down like this, the door mines will allow me to crawl myself to safety where my teammates can get a rise. But here we have a 10 out of 10 perfect corner mines. This means that when the enemy comes in rush, they can't see them, of course, like they are in a hurry. And here we can open the door. Even if they're more cautious, of course they will go to the mine anyways. And here we have the really cautious player who's trying to peek, but because we have placed the mines so close to the wall, it's almost impossible, even in this cautious mode, to see them and avoid the explosion. And here we demonstrate enemy coming in, going down. Now there's like 3 extra seconds from the signal of him going down for the enemy to push and get the easy kill before he can crawl this far and maybe get a smoked and his teammates to cover that end. Here we have some examples of staircase mining. This is a good example. Middle of the stairs, it's so obvious. When the enemy team comes here, they see it and it's easily shot and it's made useless against the enemy. And here we are doing another example. Quite often what newer players do, they just throw the mine on top of the stairs. It's a little better, of course, it's not as visually seeable, but when they come a little closer, they are not getting close enough for the explosion to go off, and they can just throw a grenade or shoot it through the wall or something, so it's not a good either. Here we have more examples. This is a lazy lower floor, lower staircase mine. Of course the basic idea still applies, so the enemy, whoever comes to that corner, will be watching upwards instead of down. But if they are in a patient mood and they are crouch walking, for example, they can notice it before it comes explosive and damaging the enemy. So it's not perfect, but it's getting better at the direction. Here we have a corner of the high top, so in a hurry player who watches upwards, of course, is going to take the damage from that. And this mine system, sometimes you just have to use it. Like, there's not always going to be a better way of placing the mine. Of course, it's highly visible on some corners, but sometimes you have to just make a compromise that is the best way to do it. And here we have a perfect mine position for staircases. So imagining once again the sweaty player comes looking upwards, he's going to go for the mine, and then we have the more cautious player who's looking around, and as you can see, we have swallowed the mine to the staircase in a way that it makes it difficult to see. Here we are demonstrating zipline mining. People usually put them on middle of the zipline rope, but that's not a good idea, because what the enemy can do is just to zipline and peek if there is something instead of fully pulling up. So with this method you can avoid smarter players for peeking and not connection with your mine. Here we have just example. If you're open field with your mines and no other grenades, you can still use them. They are really not so likely that anybody will go to them, but it's better to put the mines in a bush than just open field. And here we are demonstrating a ladder mining. Of course, if you put it on top, it's easily visible and can be shot from long ranges. Sniper rifles especially really dangerous, dealing damage to you if they see the mines and they shoot them when they are next to them. And here we have a correct way to do it, making the kill possible.